Tennis was my second sport, actually. I started with motocross, but as I started getting better at motocross, started jumping higher and injuries were likely, so parents got me out of motocross and I switched to tennis, and I've been doing tennis ever since.
Pierce Rollins started playing competitive tennis when he was just 8 years old.
I always liked the competitive aspect of it and competing against another person. I've always, like the same thing was in motocross, like I always have that like drive to win, and the same thing, and that's why I really like tennis, is because same thing in motocross, it's individual sport, you're only depending on yourself.
He says Tucker Tennis Academy was instrumental in his success.
So the biggest thing about Tucker Tennis is I really like the culture here, because everyone tries to keep each other accountable and we're able to take criticism and not take it personally.
He also started to train under TTA coach and SCiO 3D sports analyst James Shaughnessy.
He does like commentaries over it and he's able to like edit the videos, so it's really nice for me to have a second opinion to look at.
Rollins says seeing how his game compares to top professionals through 3D analysis is a valuable tool.
So you're able to see mirror for mirror exactly what you need to do and what they're doing better than you, and how you're able to get closer to that level.
Shaughnessy's specialized aerial computerized exercise systems allow him to train and get stronger, not sore.
You're not getting sore the next day, so it's not hindering your ability to play at your best. So with free weights, you're getting sore, and the next day you're kind of like a little groggy and you can't move as well. But with this, we're able to get stronger as well as continue to play your best, because you're not sore the next day. You're not having your movements not hindered or anything like that.
Shaughnessy is not only his coach, but his friend.
Jim is a person to me that I'm able to trust no matter what, and that's a huge thing in coaching, is when they say something, you're not doubting him at all. He's telling you something, you're like, all right, it might be a difficult change, and it might set me back for a little bit, but I know in the long run, it's going to help me out, and that's the biggest thing with Sawinski. Sawinski's his nickname, and I just have such trust in him as a coach and as a person that when he tells me something, I know it's important, and I know to lock in and listen and use what he's about to tell me.
He climbed the rankings in juniors before turning his attention to ITF and Pro Future tournaments.
I mainly focused on Pro Futures because ITFs you're traveling a lot, it's pretty expensive, so I was able to drive to a lot of tournaments. Like in Chicago, I played one. In Texas, I was driving at like 16, so I was pretty young, but it was a lot more economical than traveling all over the world for ITFs.
Rollins is a sophomore at Texas A&M this year.
Funny story, actually, I was in Maryland and they were actually recruiting the guy that I was playing against, and I ended up beating that guy, and they're like, man, like, who is this guy? So they came up to me after the match and they're just like, and they started talking to me and asking if I was interested in the school, and I definitely said yes. And I continued to follow up and talk to them, and eventually I took a visit to the school and I really liked it. I liked the coaches, the team, especially the people. I really like the people in Texas. The people are always very friendly, and I really fell in love with the school there.
He says TTA prepared him for college tennis in many ways.
Tennis has really taught me the importance of having structure in my life, for having, okay, what am I doing the first thing when I wake up? How am I going to fit in my stretching, my mental training, and making sure that you're making the most of when you're doing it, not just like doing it to the half of your abilities, but actually making sure that you're trying your best in everything. That's a big thing in college. As long as you're putting in the effort and you're taking the time to do things, you'll be fine.
When he reflects on his TTA journey, he says one thing sticks out in his mind.
It starts with your dynamic warm-up. If you have like a bad warm-up, it's going to translate over into your tennis. Or if you're not doing the full reps, like someone's not watching, you cut one rep short, that's going to translate over. So it's making sure that you're always going that extra step to get ahead, and that's one thing that they really preach here, and that's one thing that has been able to translate in every area, in every aspect of my life, I think.